Hey everyone, this is Car Ray Rob.
Where I'm Ray.
And I'm Rob.
And this is our podcast, Say Hello to My Little Film.
Hey there, it'll be just a little while till Ray and Rob spit their spittle. Come on, check out of the hospital. So grab some of your best peanut brittle. This will be a darn good transmittal. And say hello to my little film.
All right, everybody, we are back with another episode of Say Hello to My Little Film, where I am going to introduce to Rob a movie that I love that he's never seen, with the hopes that I can get him to love this movie too.
Absolutely, we call it our fresh perspective on a retrospective review. It's our little flavor here at Car Ray Rob.
I like that flavor. And Rob, actually, the last couple months, my flavor's been a little heavy.
It really has.
And I'm not
The
usually that
indigestion.
guy. Yeah, there's been some heartburn. But we're not going to go for heartburn this time. We're going to
Really?
change up. We're going to bring some levity back
Okay.
into my episodes. We're gonna go comedy.
Well, it's funny because the last time you brought comedy, I actually didn't like it because it was a walk in the woods.
Yeah, well, sometimes you can just be insufferable. But it'd be a lot harder, I think, not to like this one. It's just
Okay.
genuine fun. But it's possible. You can be picky, and we'll see.
Well, I enjoy the challenge. Obviously, I normally love a good comedy, so I'm excited to see what you've brought to break up this dour,
Yeah, heavy, just
heavy
just
kind
heavy.
of feeling that you've brought the last couple of months. So, Ray, how are you going to do it? I got to know, what do you got?
What do you got? What do you got?
All right, Rob. Well, what I got for you is the 2017 movie The Big Sick.
Ugh, am I going to get sick from watching this?
I hope
Is it a
not.
gross out?
No.
Oh, good. Okay.
Somebody else gets sick, but it stars Kumail Nanjiani.
Oh, I do love Kumail
I think
Nanjiani.
he's hilarious.
Okay.
I think he's a better actor now than he was in 2017. But of course, who wouldn't be?
Right.
He's still great in this. It's one of these, like, it's a rom-com, but it's this like kind of cultural clashing movie. Like, think about like Guess Who's Coming to Dinner type deal a little bit.
Sure.
So he's got his Pakistani culture getting
Mhm.
mixed with American culture, I guess. Really, really funny movie. It kind of like does a great job of balancing that line between like awkward humor and
Mhm.
just laugh out loud funny. Like, think The Office, like where it's like they're gonna make you feel
Oh,
uncomfortable in some scenes, but like you're laughing while you're watching it. You're like, I'm
Right.
glad that's not me. Kind of deal. So I really like it too because I find like it's a rom com. It's a semi-autobiographical movie. It's about how he met his wife.
Oh,
Like, truly met his wife.
okay.
We'll talk about like how true maybe in the after section.
Sure.
But so it's
He
got
slayed at least 2 dragons in this movie, but
Yeah.
not in real life.
Exactly. He's allowed to boost himself up a little bit for this. So it is a classical kind of rom-com in that way, but it's got maybe a second act with a twist to that formula.
Okay.
So it doesn't feel as formulaic as maybe some other movies, which makes it fun too. But like I said, it stars Kumail Nanjiani and Zoe Kazan.
Oh, Zoe Kazan is Paul Dano's wife.
Is she?
She is.
Okay, I'll trust you on that. But she's great in this.
Yeah.
I wish we saw her more. She is really funny.
Yeah, she's a great actress. She's also a great writer. She's got a couple of movies, Ruby Sparks, and she co-wrote Paul Dano's directorial debut, Wildlife,
Very cool.
which is a great movie.
Yeah, she's great. She hasn't done anything in a while, it looks like, but I don't know why. Her parents are played by Holly Hunter and Ray Romano,
Ooh, I love Holly Hunter.
and they're both great.
Yeah.
Like, they are really good in this. They have a great little arc as a couple, too, that they go on throughout this movie, which is really good. So I'm excited to see it. It's actually directed by Michael Showalter, which you might remember. He's a hard name to maybe place, but you'd recognize him. He's like big in Wet Hot American Summer.
Oh, okay.
Like, kind of like the
Yeah.
leadish guy
Oh,
there.
yeah. Okay, yeah.
He's
Mhm.
hilarious. Directs the heck out of this movie. Does a great job. So I'm excited for you to see it. I'm excited for my movie to be a little lighter in tone.
Yeah.
Have fun with the comedy here and see what you think.
Well, no, you have been a bit dour over the last
Yeah.
couple of episodes, but I will say, I'm glad you kind of prefaced the formula a bit, because I will say this is a formula I'm not 100% on board with. Like,
Mhm.
I'm not a big Meet the Parents fan. Like,
Right.
I feel like that kind of thing where it's like, oh, here's this two married people, they're coming together, and then, oh, the person who's meeting the rest of the family just can't do anything right. Like,
Right.
it's just like that. I feel like that's been done to death.
Yeah.
So I'm hopeful that this movie might, like you said, has a little bit of a twist on it and can do some different things.
Yeah, I think so. So we'll find out. I want Rob to find out.
Yeah.
So-
And I'm excited to do that. And I think everybody else should do that at this point as well. We invite you to pause the podcast, go check out The Big Sick, and then come back and see if Ray can finally liven up the mood here and make me love this movie as much as he does.
Ray and Rob are currently watching The Film. You may be also watching The Film. If you're not, then you're listening to me say that Ray and Rob are watching The Film. They'll be right back when they're done watching The Film.
All right, everybody, we are back from watching The Big Sick, and I will admit I am still not sick of this movie. I like it every time I watch it, Rob.
Well, there you go. I mean, you had to love it coming in. If you didn't love it, that would be a twist.
That would be a twist.
That would be a twist if you recommended a movie to the other, and then after the movie you're like, I hate this movie now.
I just wanted to make you watch it. I'm gonna do that with like Avatar, because I know you hate Avatar. I'm just gonna pretend I love it just to make you watch it. But
but then you would have to hate it. Me hating it's not the twist. You
I do.
hating the movie. Oh, you already hate it.
yeah.
Oh, fair enough.
But
Okay.
all right. Yeah, but you know what would not be a twist is if we have a question for
No,
this
that's true.
episode, for
No,
this
that's true.
conversation. So, do we have one?
Well, you know what? It's not like a deep philosophical question. I don't know if a movie like this necessarily has that. But one thing that after watching this movie, one of the things that's so interesting to me, you sold this as a Kumail Nanjiani, Zoe Kazan movie. Zoe Kazan's like not in 75% of this movie.
The bulk of the movie she's missing from.
She's kind of just not there because she is in a coma.
Yeah.
So, it starts out and you think that this movie is kind of like the meet cute of Kumail Nanjiani and his wife, Emily. But is this really a meet cute movie between Kumail and Emily, or is this a meet sad movie between Kumail and her parents?
Yeah, that's a good question.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
And I guess that's where I kind of said the second act is a little bit different than you see in a lot of these like love story movies,
right? Yeah.
origin stories of their love, is because he doesn't get to win her back,
Right.
like, which is what you're used to seeing in the second act, or maybe the dumped boyfriend does task after task in order to win his loved one back. But in this
Right.
one, he almost has to win over the parents instead of her.
Yeah. Well, and I was kind of worried going in that this would be, that kind of movie where, like, Meet the Parents, where it's
Yeah.
like the boyfriend just can't seem to do anything right, and the
Right.
parents is always, and it wasn't really that.
No.
Necessarily. I think when they first meet, clearly, there's the scene when they show up and she's in a coma and they don't like him, and it's clear they don't like him.
They're mad at him.
They're
yeah.
mad at him, and then he leaves, and then he comes back, and they're still mad at him. And Holly Hunter kind of has her, like, won't let her sit next to him, like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Whatever. But then they have one scene essentially that kind of like patches it up when they come to see him do his stand up.
Yeah.
And Holly Hunter fights the guy who heckles him about being in ISIS, which is a great scene. Like, Holly
Yeah.
Hunter just like goes off, and
Yeah.
then Ray Romano kind of goes off in the most Ray Romano way
Yeah.
ever. Like,
Yeah.
if you expect Ray Romano to go off in a bar, this is how it would be.
And I think I read online that scene was actually inspired from a Holly Hunter story where she went off on a dude at like a hocky game before.
That
for
doesn't shock me at all.
Yeah. So
That sounds pretty on par for what
Yeah.
I believe Holly Hunter would be like in real life.
yeah. So, but they also have, because I guess my favorite joke of the movie is the 9/11 joke, and so they did have that
Sure.
scene before that too, where like Kumail, he's gonna eat lunch by himself, and Ray Romano's like, "Geez, this guy won't leave, so let him at least sit with us."
Right.
And then he has the, what did you think about 9/11?
9/11. Like, I just wanted to talk about that. I've never talked about people.
You've never talked about 9/11 with people before?
But Kumail's response is so good. It was a sad day. We lost 19 of our best guys. Like
What?
that was just, it's so good.
Yeah.
And it's funny because in a movie like this, which is kind of like semi-autobiographical.
Yeah.
It's if this movie was autobiographical, billed that way, you feel like you kind of almost have to like have this level of truth.
Right.
But when it's semi-autobiographical, it's like, well, do you just make yourself look funnier than you
Yeah,
really
of course.
are?
I had the perfect punchline joke just lined up, ready to go.
Kumail's not really this funny, is he? No.
I hope so. But
No, I think he is. I just thought that was funny because in a movie like this, a stylized version of true events, which
Yeah.
again, and not that autobiographical movies are always the most truthful
Sure,
things
there's
in the
just as
world.
much lying
but-
there, too.
Right, exactly. But I just thought that was funny.
well, let's go back a little bit. We're kind of jumping into that second
Yeah,
act.
let's
and I
talk
think-
about the first.
Yeah, let's just talk about first. So, basically you have Kumail who basically meets Emily at a comedy show.
right.
They have this, quick attraction to one another, though they're trying at first to like not date. They don't want to date, but they just can't seem to avoid each other.
Right. And I think that stuff really works. I think that they had a good chemistry. I liked that, that angle on it where it's like, okay, we're going to have a one night stand, but that's it. You call her again.
Yeah.
I can't stop calling him. That kind
Yeah.
of thing. And it just kind of that natural progression. I almost felt like that was kind of almost I don't want to call it the anti-meet cute because that's not really what it is. They still
Right.
had that kind of meet cute moment, but I liked the slow build up, and I think kind of like it got me really invested in their relationship. But I will say, and I feel like this is like rom-com 101, and it annoys me every time. I feel like the breakup is always, it feels so forced. It always feels so forced. And like their breakup scene, I was just like, what is happening here?
Well,
like there's a lot of overreaction going on here.
I don't know about overreaction, but I feel like I do feel like maybe it's like it's missing the heart of the argument is like only one line of the whole thing, because at the end of the day what she is realizing is your parents are never going to let us get married, will they? And he's like, yeah, no, they won't. It's like, well, then I'm ending it now, because you know what I mean, why keep doing this if we're never going to have a future anyway?
But the problem is like that line was the last line.
Right, I agree.
And I
No,
think
say
it
it's
like
mu-
so
argument
like
is
the
muddled.
argument got up to like an 11 before you even got to that line. It's
Yeah.
not like that was the line that set off the argument.
Right.
It was like, I found all these pictures, and he was kind of, I mean, he had an explanation. He's like, I don't really like any of these girls. Like, my mom's making me do this. Like, you don't, and I just felt like, and who knows, like, this is just me as the viewer. Like, it made me dislike Emily, because it was like, I'm having this, I'll call it a cultural misunderstanding. And at that moment, I'm like, well, man, Emily, you must just feel really like happy about the fact that your mom's not trying to force you to marry
Right.
somebody. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
you don't even have to worry about arranged marriage. Holy crap! Lucky lottery for you. And like,
Yeah.
she's kind of having this like over the top reaction to it, and I don't know. Like I said, it's 101 rom-com. Like I said,
Sure,
it's not even
sure.
really the fault of The Big Sick. It is just the fault of rom-coms, where it's like they have to have this scene where it feels like, well, we have to break up because that's what has to happen.
Right.
And so, bam, this happens.
Yeah, because funny story, and I think this would make the movie worse, but in real life they never broke up.
Right.
Like there wasn't this breakup before she got sick. They were
That's
actually
interesting.
together the whole time.
That's interesting.
So, but there's two lines for me that I can still like get on Emily's side with. One was that saying like, I can't, if we don't have, do we have a future together? Will your parents ever let us get married? And he says, I don't know.
Right.
So, and then she also says like, I can't, I think she says this later in the movie, but it's like, she's like, I can't be responsible for you losing your family.
Okay.
There's the reasons
Okay.
you can break up.
So I guess I have the same issue, but like I understand where you're coming from, but I also have a similar issue where it's like in that scene he told her like I don't want to lose my family.
Right.
Like that's an extremely open thing to say, very vulnerable to say, and very truthful. Like he is dealing with a very delicate situation.
Yeah.
And she basically tells him, I don't care. And then to come back later in that scene later, it's like, I don't want to, when he's finally like, I did the thing.
Yeah.
I said, I put it all, I kicked it all to the side. Like, I finally made the hard decision that I needed to make for myself and have basically pushed my family away. And she's like, I don't care. And I'm just like, oh my God, that you cannot please this lady.
No, I don't know if I agree with that. I think like the first time when he's saying like, I don't want to lose my family, he's kind of saying that this is more of a fling for me. Like there's no seriousness here. I don't want to lose, but I don't want to lose my family. So I'll never pick you over my family. She's not saying she's saying like she's not saying
I don't think
don't
he
care.
was saying that. I think he was basically like because he did love her at that point.
Oh yeah.
But the problem is he is walking a very fine line, and he's trying to have it all at that point. And I do get that.
Yeah.
Like he's trying to have. He wants Emily, and he still wants his family, and he hasn't figured out how to bridge that gap yet, or to find the strength to figure that out. But like I said, so it's like
I get it. Yeah.
I think for me, like it just I having her, like I said, in that scene, have her be just so overreacting to the situation, and then so you said you jumped after. I'll just address it. You know, after she wakes up finally, and not the first scene when she's all drugged up. That's whatever, a throwaway. Yeah. That's whatever. That is what it is. But when he comes to the party and is basically like putting his heart out there and being like, look, like I finally overcame this. And then it's like, well, I don't want to be the reason you don't want to lose my family. It's, well, look who just caught up. Now you realize what I was trying to tell you before you went into the coma? Like, great.
True.
Like
So I have written down in my notes, like, are there some first-time writer issues with this movie? And and this is a comedy, so some of the stuff you're going to glance over, but the movie does bring up these kind of heavy-ish topics, which are kind of fun to explore. So it's still interesting to talk about. But like, so I kind of have like, is this first-time writer issues? And now I'm kind of rephrasing the question in my brain, like compared to kind of tying what you said. So is this first-time writer issues or is this rom-com issues? Because I will say, breakups, that's an interesting
101.
one to talk about, but. It's a little muddy. So is that a rom-com thing or is that a first-time writer thing? The arranged marriage thing doesn't get a ton of closure in this movie.
No.
There's just not a lot of time for it. But, so you explore it a lot.
Yeah.
But you don't really get the satisfaction of him, like, winning his mom over or his parents over. Like, that never really is something that they address in this movie. There's just maybe a lot in this movie that they're just kind of putting in there. Like there's her sickness, there's arranged marriages, there's winning, the meet the parents part of it. Like maybe too much stuff to kind of spread out.
And I can agree with that. I mean, like, there are a lot of emotional things going on in this movie, because you like I said, you got the Kumail and the Emily stuff, then you got the Kumail and his parents stuff, or her parents stuff, and then Kumail and his parents, obviously arranged marriage stuff, and then you have the Kumail and her parents stuff, and then her parents have stuff together, issues that they're going through, and so I mean, it is a lot. Yeah. There is a lot, and you're some of the stuff is just going to end up wrapping up in a very simplified way because it almost has to.
Yeah, the arranged marriage stuff you almost could have probably got away without having in this movie. Like it does make maybe the culture stuff a little bit less interest, the cross cultures, but at the end of the day, they don't focus on that all that much, and like the resolution of the movie doesn't have that much to do with the culture. It's more about him moving, him chasing a career.
Right.
So it's I kind of feel like it gets lost at the end.
I don't disagree. I don't know if I would jettison it, but I definitely can like agree that again it was one of those things. But it was a huge thing for him. I mean, him basically kind of giving up his family. Him not giving it, but forcing them to be the ones to say like you're shunned, even though he's like I'm not being kicked out of my family. I guess
maybe there's that personal growth there that he's actually showing commitment to things now.
Right.
So maybe that's it there.
I definitely think that's part of it. But
it's a great line when he is yelling at her. He's like, that thing that they call arranged marriage here in my culture, they call that marriage.
Right. Yeah. And it's true, and I do think that stuff is interesting, and I think that's again. So okay, kind of piggybacking a little bit on what we were talking about earlier with Emily, and I guess her overreaction. I keep
Yeah.
going back to that word, overreaction, and even hit her parents to a degree. Is the idea where I think
Well, they're
you're
only hearing her side of the story, so they,
correct,
yeah,
correct, and they do. So for them, they do kind of overcome this idea of who Kumail is and what he has to deal with culturally,
right,
like the arranged marriage stuff. I think they kind of again, they do it quickly through the one scene, but I think it works
yeah,
because again, it's just it's funny enough, it's heartfelt enough that you feel like, okay, I understand what like he's dealing with,
yeah,
and they can kind of get past that and come together. But I feel like with Emily, you're right. She never really has to reckon with that,
yeah,
like ever. And it's like I'll put it this way: like the white folk don't have to reckon with the fact that like this poor Indian guy is kind of stuck in this situation where his family's going to disown him if he doesn't
right,
partake in this arranged marriage situation. So I do feel like that I can agree with you then, I guess, in that regard, where I do feel like I I wish they had to.
yeah.
I wish Emily had
It's
to.
like that's the sequel,
Well, even it, but I think
yeah,
there were those two conversations that she had. Like, granted, one of them, well, so there was the one where at the party,
yeah,
and then there was the one in the theater,
right,
which you can argue there might have been like too many steps in that whole last act of like them finally coming together, but whatever. I'm not saying that right now. But as far as what I'm talking about in this moment, she had two scenes to kind of reckon with it. And I don't feel like she ever really does. It's
no,
more just like, well, I decided that I liked you. Okay, well that's fine, but like you didn't understand what I was dealing with.
right.
You
Well,
still don't clearly seem like you're understanding what I had to deal with. You're just okay with it now because I just jettisoned my family.
I do think they want you to watch the like when she watches his set,
Yeah.
they want your brain to do a lot of heavy lifting and be like, she probably watched this whole thing, and then she probably understood a lot of what he was going through this, and like
Sure.
I think they want your brain to do a lot of heavy lifting just
Sure.
to get. They're trying to get out of the movie,
Yeah.
and like I said, so there is some things we're not going to get good wrap ups in, and that's
Right.
I think that's one of it. Early in the when Holly Hunter and Kumail are having their kind of scene where they're kind of getting on the same page with one another. She's kind of saying how her parents never liked Ray Romano.
Right. Right.
And like, well, how'd you guys move past it? She said a lot of awkward dinners.
Right.
And I guess you just are to assume that that's what Emily is going to be willing to do, is just to show up on Fridays until Kumail's mom starts talking to her.
Right.
That kind of
or
thing.
something. Yeah.
Yeah. So, so I definitely think the movie wants you to do a lot of heavy lifting. And I guess like if this was a drama, I would hold more. Like if this movie was meant to be a drama and you're supposed to see this huge character development, I would hold more against it.
And that's
But
fair.
since it's a comedy, it's like, all right, we can brush over some of these things.
I mean,
I
that's
guess.
fair. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I think this is a movie with a lot of faces. You
Yeah.
have the comedy part, you do have that heavy second act, but they do inject enough comedy into it where you don't. It's not like a full-on drama.
Yeah.
But I do think they do a decent job of balancing both tones.
Yeah.
For the most part. But you're right, because it's still at its heart a comedy. You're not getting some of those like dramatic closures that you would probably get from a typical drama.
Yeah, and there's enough depth in what the story is actually throwing at you that you almost want it, or it could do it if they wanted to go that route.
Right.
But yeah.
But it's a little overstuffed. You're not
Yeah.
wrong there.
But I think I think I mentioned before, section. To me, it has some of that like it's the reason why it's able to balance some of those different tones is because it has that awkward humor a lot, that office style sometimes where you're like, I don't want to be in the same room with this person, but
Right.
it's making you cringe so much that you're laughing, and so
Right.
that kind of works well with the sickness and stuff, and
Yeah.
and Kumail having to be around Emily's parents as they're arguing with each other and
Right,
stuff, and that's where I
right.
think Ray Romano and Holly Hunter both shine.
Yeah, they're great. They're great in this movie. They're great in their characters. I think they interact well with Kumail. I think the chemistry between those three is really great, which kind of goes back to what the question I maybe almost jokingly, but maybe kind of seriously asked in the beginning, because I feel like their relationship is the one that kind of like blooms
Yeah.
through the course of this movie, and their chemistry is really, really great.
Yeah, I think, and I just love the little arc of this, the patching up of their relationship.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because Ray Romano's character at one point in time, not during the movie, but a while ago, cheated on Holly Hunter's character, and so like they have some of that edge to their relationship that they're still working through, and with their daughter being sick, it's kind of one of those things you realize how much you love the people in your lives, and I think they're able to kind of move past it, which is it's a great little sub story
Yeah.
that they string along, but some great laughs. One of my favorite scenes is Ray Romano when he's in bed with. Not in bed with Kumail, but it's sleeping in the same room because he's, him and Holly Hunter are not sleeping in the same
What a
room.
twist!
Yeah, but when Ray's kind of telling the story of how he cheated on Holly Hunter and what his reactions were after, it was just so funny to me how he's just screaming in the room, and you could just tell how awkward Kumail is. That's one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah, no, and like I said, I mean, Ray Romano is essentially playing himself, so like these are like the most Ray Romano moments you can think of, but they just work so well.
Yeah,
I
they're
mean,
great.
even like I said, the funny stuff, the dramatic stuff, I think he was perfect for this movie, and Holly Hunter too.
Yeah.
I mean, for her feistiness, that kind of like confrontational nature that she had, even in the dramatic stuff, like when they were talking about moving her to the other hospital and all of that. I commend them for kind of like sidestepping some of like the cliche melodrama elements of that situation. Like Kumail comes in and like he makes a hard stand, but it's not like all of a sudden in that moment, her parents are like, I don't like you now.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I don't like you again because you don't want us to move her.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it was just like, this is just happening. Like, we're her parents. We are responsible for her. We have to make these decisions. So, like, I liked that.
Yeah.
Because it could have been like
Unnecessary.
Right. That unnecessarily like third act break where you're like, oh, this is where, everything.
Yeah.
But
Attack by ally.
Right. But to be fair, in that same instance, like, this isn't technically supposed to be a movie about that. Them, like Kumail and her parents in that regard. So, like, there doesn't need to be that kind of resolution because the resolution is supposed to be between Kumail and Emily.
Right.
Finally, like when she finally comes out of this coma in the third act.
Yeah. And I will say, I do like Zoe Kazan in this movie. She is obviously she's not in it for a chunk, and that's what the movie's named after.
Right.
But to me, I know, and I don't totally disagree with your assessment of the breakup, but I do think she does enough in the first act, and that I'm like, I do want you guys to get together. Like, I do like you as a couple, and she as an actress is endearing enough to me where I liked her.
I like Zoe Kazan.
I don't see her in a lot of stuff. I like
no,
her.
she doesn't act a ton. She's directed a couple things. I think she's written a couple things, but like, I don't know. Like, I liked her up until the breakup scene.
Right.
And I'm not going to lie, I don't think she ever recovered for me, like, after that. I think even after she came out of a coma, like, it was a little weird, because I'm like, part of me by the end of the movie was like, do I really want to see you two together? I don't even know. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was, I will admit, I was a little borderline on that.
I kind of feel, you mentioned like earlier that she has those two scenes where she comes out and then she gets to have that conversation with Kumail. And I do think when she's in the theater, her like last real scene with Kumail before he moves, she is there and ready to say everything that you want her to say. I think that's what she went there to do.
Right.
And then Kumail like cuts her off and says, I'm moving, I'm leaving, and going to New York. And I think that stopped her in her tracks. Yeah,
but my problem with that is that then you don't really get the closure that she needs.
I know.
Like, as a character.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily, I can totally get on board with what you're saying, but as a viewer, that means nothing to me because I don't see it.
No,
that's an assumption at that point.
Yeah.
And like, her going to New York is fine because it does mean, okay, like, she is accepting these things to a degree, but like I said, it's just, maybe it comes off as that, like I said, it's hard for me to kind of forgive like the privileged nature of it, like for her, where it's like, well, it's very easy for you to judge this guy who's trapped in this situation because you've never had to be trapped in this situation. You have parents that clearly love you no matter what.
Right.
If you come home and say, I'm going to marry X.
I'm going to be goth in high school.
I want to be goth. I want to marry a woman. I want to marry a man. Whatever. They seem perfectly fine. They are not going to kick you out of their house. Kumail is literally going to be disowned. He has family members that are completely shunned and cannot even be spoken to because of it. And I don't know if I ever feel like that's ever really reckoned with by the Emily character in this movie.
In the movie.
In the
right.
movie.
I agree.
I mean, in real life, I'm sure she did. Like, again, I'm
Oh,
sure
yeah.
she's a wonderful person. But, like, I'm talking about just
Yeah,
in the
this
confines of the
character,
movie.
this
Right, in
character,
the confines of the
this
movie.
character
This
that
Kumail,
might-
I'm
yeah.
sure, is great. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure she is a peach.
Well,
But,
no, I
like-
agree. That's kind of what we're saying. Like, the same thing. Like, we don't get this. Those are things that they don't get in the movie. You know, I guess it would make it a 3-hour movie if they, like, showed, all right, now Emily, you know, trying to win Kumail's parents. You know, Emily trying to win over Kumail's parents. Like, that's an entirely separate movie, I guess.
Right.
And so, like I said, the movie, I think, makes you do some of the heavy lifting and just assume, all right, well, they meet in Chicago. The credits are them getting married. You fill in the gaps of how they got there.
Right.
She obviously came to all these reasons, but we're not going to give you the satisfaction of seeing it on
Right.
film because that's not
Right.
what.
And his parents
Yeah.
too, you know, like you said, like they're
Yeah.
at the wedding, like they have the
Yeah.
both
Both
wedding.
two weddings,
They had
it
two
seems
weddings
like,
in
yeah.
both their, you know, in both faiths, and it's like, okay, so clearly his parents also came around or
Yeah.
come around at some point,
Right.
and you know, and you don't necessarily get that on film, and again, like we said earlier, there's that wrap up issue that you're going to have when you have this much going on.
Yeah.
But
But I agree with what you're saying in that I think, like, it's one thing to not let Kumail's parents get that closure because they are very much like C characters in the movie.
right,
But she is supposedly the lead. You would think she would get that, you know, wrap up, or you would see her character rounded out there.
yeah, no,
But, and
absolutely.
they don't.
Yeah, you know, kind of going back to, you know, Kumail writing this movie, you know, and I kind of joked about it earlier, like when it's like, you know, the autobiographical nature versus the semi-autobiographical nature, and it's like, okay, well, you know, he wrote this movie, maybe he just wrote himself to make it be really awesome.
Well, yes, but Emily is a co-writer in the movie too.
What?
Yeah.
No.
So she was okay with.
She wrote herself like
She
this?
was okay how she
Oh
wrote
my
herself.
God.
Must have been how she really responded.
Like, maybe.
Well,
man,
well, you know,
maybe I was wrong. Maybe I need to take
Yeah.
back that.
Well, like
those
I
nice
said-
things I said.
Yeah, like I
earlier.
said, they didn't break up. They didn't break up in real
Right,
life,
well,
so
yeah,
they didn't tackle that the
And
same
that
way.
goes to the over dramatization element of it, and again, like when you kind of have to do this semi-autobiographical thing, like you do have to over dramatize certain elements,
Yeah.
and that is a rom-com thing too.
Yeah, for
so
sure.
that's not even just a first-time writer thing. So I'm not just going
Yeah.
to put it, you know, on a novice bucket. That is a rom-com thing. It's like, you know, you could write 100 rom-coms, and they all have this in there somewhere in some form. So, you know, and it's hard, you know, and I think it's hard, you know, maybe a little bit because it does kind of deal with that cultural element where, like I said, that kind of like that level of privilege comes to play a little bit, where it's like, you know, you can't, like, clearly she just can't seem to understand like the true gravity of what he's dealing with,
Right.
And like
It's
I said,
more about how it's affecting her.
right, it is. It's absolutely like, how is it affecting her? And I will give it to you. His response at the end of that scene, the breakup scene, where it's like, I don't know if I see a life together. That was like that was the mistake, his mistake. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? That one I get, but it was like up until that point, I wasn't buying it I just wasn't buying it.
Yeah.
Like I'm like this just feels like we need to break up for some reason. So this is what it's gonna be.
Yeah. Now the flip side of that is, let's say you did agree with the breakup, and you have these two characters that are broke up. I do like how them in the movie, like, you know, when she finally wakes up from her coma, I like the idea that you have this one character that's gone through all this growth, and he realizes how much he loves you, and he's gotten to know your parents, and now your parents love him, and he's another member of the family.
Right.
But to the person that just woke up who didn't experience any of that, she's like, no, I didn't have any of those like revelations. Like, I like that twist on this love story.
Absolutely. That element of it is interesting. So that part, you know, that party, that is the one part of the party scene that I would like, the party conversation scene that
Yeah.
that I thought was interesting, and I would definitely give to Emily as a character in this movie, is this idea of I didn't have these revelations. I
Yeah.
was asleep. Yeah, and like I get that. But I guess for me in that moment, it also didn't feel like she wanted to have them either.
Right. She was being a little stubborn.
Right, and like, so, you know, I do think that's what that theater scene when she comes to see him, where that would have benefited her to have some of that in there.
Right.
And it just wasn't there. And so I think for me, that just made the Emily character feel unfinished.
Yeah.
In that regard, but she still gets the happy ending. So it's like she's unfinished, but she still gets the happy ending. So you're like, okay, well, I'm here,
Yeah.
I guess. You know,
Yeah. Like I said, you got to now do that heavy lifting
Right.
on your own, which is sometimes, you know, that's you're supposed to be show me, don't tell me kind of stuff, and you don't get to see that. But like I said, at the end of the day, I think because it's a comedy, I'm able to give it some grace. So like I said, maybe a half-hour version longer of this movie. There's some things that I could have really enjoyed seeing wrapped up, but who knows if it would have like pace-wise killed the movie and not have been as interesting.
Sure, yeah, I get that.
All right, Rob. Well, then I'm just gonna throw your question back at you and make you answer
Right
it.
in my face.
Is this movie a meet cute movie about Kumail and Emily, or is this a meet sad movie about Kumail meeting her parents?
Let's see. I just, the more I think about it, I can't see it in any other way. This was a meet sad movie.
Okay.
This was Kumail meeting her parents. And it's, I think a lot of it obviously goes to the fact that she was asleep for the vast majority of this movie.
Right.
So she didn't really go through the trauma. Like she went through the physical trauma.
Right.
But she was in a coma, so she didn't really know that. She didn't go through the trauma. Her family did. So
Right.
she didn't really change. Her family did.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's where I keep going back to that whole thing about like her not having that growth at the end. And I think her being in the coma is really what affected that, because you didn't have that real estate in the middle of the movie where she has these things happen or whatever that makes her grow. And so because of that, she kind of takes her out of being one of the center pieces of the movie.
Right.
And it really just feels like Kumail, Holly Hunter, and Ray Romano. So for me, it's a meet sad. But what about you?
I kind of agree, like, with that assessment. I almost feel like the movie could have, like, again, I love the movie the way it is because it makes me laugh and I find it interesting. But I think maybe structurally the movie would have worked better if, like, she never wanted to break up with Kumail, but he breaks up with her, maybe because of the arranged marriage thing or the parents. But, like, he only broke up with her.
Right.
So that could, her parents would still be mad at her and not like him. But when she wakes up, she doesn't have to go through all this growth of, like, wanting him back because she always did kind of thing. And it's just more about him winning over her parents and him
He didn't technically
changing.
break up with her.
No, I'm saying
I know
if
he
they,
said
no, I'm
that.
saying if the movie was made that way.
Oh, I see.
Where when she wakes up, she didn't have to win him. Like,
right.
We didn't have to see her,
right,
like, grow because she
I see
always
what you
wanted to
mean.
be
Yeah,
together.
yeah.
Maybe the movie would be cleaner that way. But
Right.
either way, I still really enjoy it. So but I do agree it's a meet sad movie. I love when Ray Romano and Holly Hunter show up.
Oh my god.
And I think that's where, like, the movie gets really fun for me.
Like I said, and there are elements of that first act before they, like the meet. The funny thing is, I do like the meet cute elements. Like I like their story in that first act where it that has that build up. Except I will never, and I say this as a man.
Okay.
How can you ignore Night of the Living Dead for sex? That is a piece of cinema. Pure cinema, and you're ignoring it for sex. Unforgivable.
I'm yawning. That thing I do when I watch really boring movies.
Whatever. You've never seen it. You don't know.
But okay. Well, then now let me ask you the even more important question. I've told everybody how much I like this movie. I've recommended this movie. I recommended this movie to you. Would you recommend this movie to other people?
And do I like it?
And do you like it?
You've got half that question. Okay, so here we go. Let's talk a bit about this. So it is a really funny movie. I laughed almost all the way through it.
Mm-hmm.
I think Kumail Nanjiani is, if you did not like Kumail Nanjiani or didn't know anything about Kumail Nanjiani, this movie would make you like him. I think he is charismatic. I think he's magnetic. I think he's a funny guy. He's got great timing, and I think he just kind of sprinkled that through the whole movie. I think he looks great through this movie. I don't think Emily does, as I think is probably pretty clear by now. I think he plays well off of obviously Holly Hunter and Ray Romano. I thought we didn't even mention it. Like Bo Burnham and Adie Bryant are in this movie.
Right.
So great cameos, and he's really funny with them.
Yeah.
I like their little group element.
Yeah, the way they can be mean to each other is cool.
Right. Yeah, and it's really funny.
He gave his girlfriend a coma.
Right. And it's like, so I think Kumail is great in this movie. I think it, and because of him, I think it is a really good movie. But I'm not going to lie. I think what saves this movie for me is the fact that Emily is in a coma for the majority of it. Because if she wasn't, I don't know if I would like this movie as much as I do.
I don't know. I almost would disagree because I think if she wasn't in the movie, you would get that rounded out. And
that's probably, and that's fair. But so it's catch-22 in that regard. Like, because she's in the version that she's in, because she's absent for the most of it, I'm like, Okay, I'm okay with this because like I get Holly
Yeah.
Hunter and Ray Romano instead of whatever this is. Great, let's
Yeah.
have this. But then so when she comes back at the end, I'm like, I don't. You're not Ron.
Yeah.
But
I
you know,
want
it's
I want
unfair.
Kumail to
I,
go in
I
a
like
throuple
I
with
like
your
Zoe
parents.
Kazan. It just sounds like I hate Kazan. It is not even remotely the case. I love Zoe Kazan. It's just like I said, some of the stuff, the way this character was written, just really kind of irked me a little bit.
Okay, so would you recommend it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. You know,
Okay.
I definitely
Okay.
would. Like, and it's a really good movie. It's
Yeah.
a really good movie. Like I said, I just think but I think it's maybe a good movie not for the reason that it's supposed to be a good movie. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I don't think this is a good movie necessarily because of Kumail and Emily. I think this is a really good movie because of Kumail, Holly Hunter, and Ray Romano's relationship and like where it gets. And I think like by the end, you know, it just I wanted more, you know, from the Emily character.
Yeah.
So it just and again, like you're right. If maybe it is because she's pulled out for most of it, but because I didn't like her, I feel like I didn't miss her.
Right, sure.
But no, I would definitely recommend it. Like I said, Kumail Nanjiani is great. I love him in most everything I've seen.
I
him
do.
in.
Yeah.
So even obviously coming to this late, I was already a fan, but it just makes me more of a fan.
Right.
And I'd love to see him do another movie. Like if this is his writing style and what he does, I'd love to see him write another movie.
I agree.
Well, we know I liked The Big Sick. We all know you liked The Big Sick,
course.
considering that you recommended it. So before we get out of here, Ray, I got to know: have you been watching anything else that you might recommend?
I have.
Oh, good.
I've watched a couple things. I had a fun watching the like what is it called? America's Team, the gambler and his Cowboys, about Jerry Jones owning the Cowboys. It's a Netflix on Netflix. Basically, Jerry Jones trying to kiss his own butt for 8 episodes.
It sounds like Jerry Jones. That's the most Jerry Jones
Yeah.
things I've ever heard.
But it actually is cool. Just
I
it was
could
it was
hate
an
that,
interesting. It's interesting for me because that's kind of like right when I first start remembering football. Like some of those some of
the
those Super Bowls
90s,
are like my
or
first early
the
memories.
Cowboys and Bills
Yeah.
that were like 3 or 4 seasons in a
But
row.
but there's some really honest stuff between Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson, who was the head coach at the time. They had a horrible falling out. But you know, they're talking about the same thing, but giving different responses, and like neither giving the other credit, saying it was all them. So just some funny back and forth to kind of watch the behind the scenes of like
I can
what
get some of
ruined
that,
this
I
relationship.
prefer. I'm Team Jimmy though in that.
I am too,
'Cause-
but still, it's funny to see like after 30 years, like neither of them can cave on this argument. It's very
Sure.
old white man style thing. I watched Friendship.
Oh, okay, good.
Which
I've been waiting to watch that myself.
I've been eagerly waiting to see that.
Was it as good as you? Oh,
It was pretty good. Yeah, I liked it. I liked it a lot. There were some parts where I'm laughing out loud.
Yeah.
It's like a Cable Guy thing where like this friendship is just weird and uncomfortable and can't let it go. But maybe like a little more depth to the Cable Guy character, like
Right.
the weirder friend.
right. Paul Rudd, right?
Paul Rudd is not the weird one. But
No,
Paul
I
Rudd,
know Paul
yeah.
Rudd. Yeah, and who's the other guy?
Tim Robinson.
Right, from that.
Yeah.
Oh, what's that show he's
Um,
in?
I love this show. I've watched it multiple times. It's something with leave in it. Oh my gosh.
It's time that you should. Maybe it's time you leave or something like that.
Oh my gosh. Never ask a question you.
I'm sorry.
never
I
ask a
messed this up.
question
This
you
was
don't
all
know the
on me.
answer to.
The audience can blame me for this.
I'm looking it up. I think you should leave.
I think you should leave.
And
Okay.
he's amazing in that. But so it's very interesting to see him try to do a serious role, and he does a really good job of being himself and being really silly and over the top and serious, like within the same scene sometimes. So
Okay.
it's I loved it. Like I didn't know if he'd be able to pull off the role personally of like this weird dude.
Sure.
But the way that they play him, it's a little slapstickier, but still dark. Kind
Okay.
of like he's just he's not able to see the consequences of his actions very well.
Okay.
So it just keeps playing with that, and it keeps roping you in. You're kind of rooting for him, but you're also rooting for him to wake up. And I just think they do a pretty good job of balancing that. So I definitely think people should check it out.
Okay.
And we watched Wednesday.
Oh, that's true. I finished Wednesday too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Truth be told,
Season
I have
2.
one episode left. So I'm 40 minutes in, but I
Oh,
feel
okay.
like I have the bulk of the season watched.
Yeah.
So.
And then there's still. It's funny. I have finished all 8 episodes. So I will say the best episode is episode 8.
Yeah.
So you've got
Great.
one. You've
That's
got the
good.
best episode. The best is still to come.
I need that because
Yeah.
I'll say this season's been fine,
Yeah,
but it's
fine
not
is
as
the word,
not
yeah.
as fun as season 1 was.
No, I think they try to do too much this season. There's
Yeah.
too many storylines and a lot of like eh, last season characters get buried in it. They get kind of left behind.
That's one of my bigger complaints.
Yeah.
I like some of the new characters, but like we just forgot about some of the old ones.
Well, and also they go through a lot of changes in the first season, and then when season 2 starts, they basically almost like jettison most of that.
Yeah.
And I think that I always hate when you do that because
Yeah.
it's almost it's because like forcing drama for no reason.
Yeah,
It's
like
like, well, let this thing that you worked on and you built so much breathe a little bit and then break it up.
Right.
Give me another reason. Let me see the dissolution of whatever it is you did. Don't just be like, well, it all happened off screen. Oh.
Yeah. That's not fun for me.
No, it's not fun for me at all. But
What else
everybody
you
is
been-
great in it. Though.
Yeah, it is. They are.
Everybody's still great in it.
They are. Like I said, like I said, maybe it feels too cluttered, or maybe
Definitely.
and because of that, some things don't feel like it has enough room to breathe, and
Yeah.
you don't get enough character moments. But what else you been watching?
Let's see. So after Wednesday, what do I have on my list? Oh, okay. I watched last time. I mentioned I had watched Eenie Meenie with Samara Weaving.
Mm-hmm.
Well, since then, I watched another Samara Weaving movie called Borderline, where she plays
right?
a pop singer in like the 90s, kind of like a Madonna-esque type pop singer.
Okay.
And she has a stalker. And the best part is that the stalker is played by Jack Nicholson's son.
His son?
His son.
Is his son any good at this?
Yes, he is fantastic. And it
Really?
is like eerie sometimes. He's got the smile
Oh,
and
no.
everything. It is so good. I highly like the movie's good. But like just watching him
performance
go
is
is
better.
great. And obviously I love Samara Weaving and
Yeah.
pretty much everything she's in. And it also gives me a reason to plug The Babysitter again. So if you've
Our
not
first
watched
ever
The Babysitter,
episode.
watch The Babysitter and listen to our episode. It's such a good movie. I always take any opportunity I can to do that. But this is a good movie. It's on Peacock for anybody out there who has Peacock. So definitely check that out. I watched 28 Years Later,
Oh God.
which, I could conceivably have that same reaction. But Danny Boyle's back, so that's good. Alex Garland wrote it, even better. And it was actually it's really good.
I heard it was really
It's
good.
really good.
Yeah.
Aaron Taylor Johnson
Mhm.
is in it, but I wouldn't know if I'd call him the star. His son, really, I feel like is more of the star. And then Ralph Fiennes is also in it, and man, I don't think that man's bad in anything. Like
He doesn't.
nothing.
He couldn't be bad if he tried.
Ralph Fiennes couldn't be bad in anything. He's so damn good, and this is no exception. I highly recommend 28 Years Later as well. And then I watched. Oh, this was great. I watched the Devo documentary.
Oh yeah.
On Netflix. I'm obviously I'm a musician. I'm a huge music fan. My whole life, I love Devo. I love the band Devo, and they are so much more than Whip It. And I know a lot of people don't know that, but if they watch this documentary, they will know that. And it is great because it's kind of like the beginning of the formation of the band to kind of when they broke up in like the late 80s, the
Mhm.
first time before they got back together. They did eventually get back together, released another record and all that kind of stuff. But, they really they were so ahead of their time. They were ahead of
Sure.
their time politically because their music is very political, but it's very subversive. Like the whole idea of de-evolution
Yeah.
and like where they were, because they were actually at Kent State when the Kent State shootings happened.
Really?
And yeah, and like, because they were all going to school there, and so it's just
Wow, I didn't know that.
It's pretty crazy. It kind of informed Devo
Yeah.
as a group and all of that.
Sure.
They've practically invented the music video, which you kind of
Mhm.
find out in this as well, like years and years before MTV was ever a thing. So it's a really amazing documentary. All the surviving members of the band are in it. Some of them are dead now, but like Mark Mothersbaugh is in it. Some of the other guys, and it's it's just really great.
I would definitely check that. I love a good doc. You know
Yeah,
that.
I know you're not even that big of a music fan. I mean,
No.
you don't like music, but you don't like it to the level that I do.
No, but I do like knowing things.
Right, and this is a great music doc for that. Let's see, and then I watched Carry On.
Or did you?
Yeah, with
They're like
Jason
8 months
Bateman.
too late there, but yeah.
I know, because it's like a Christmas movie, and I
Right.
did not know that going in.
Yeah, everybody's still saying it's like the new Die Hard. It's your
I would not
Christmas
say
movie
that.
that's not a Christmas movie.
Yeah,
No,
I wouldn't say that.
I don't think it lived up to the hype. That was the buzz Netflix was trying to generate.
Yeah, and it was fine. Like Taron Egerton is in it. It's got some good twists and turns. Bateman's great. Like there's a couple moments where I feel like he's trying to like too physical for like what I feel like Jason Bateman is as a person. So they're trying to sell it a little hard, especially considering like Taron Egerton's kind of
he's buff.
He's a buff dude.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
I mean, he's short, but he's buff.
Right. So I'm just like, I don't know if I buy this, but okay. But yeah, it's fine. I don't know if I'll ever watch it again. You know, maybe if I get a wild hair at Christmas, maybe I'll appreciate it more because it's a Christmas movie. If Die Hard's a Christmas movie, so is Carry On. But it's fine.
All right, everybody, we are wrapping up our conversation on The Big Sick. I actually found a movie that Rob enjoyed. I'm not going to try and do that again. I'm going to find something next month that you are going to hate.
Perfect.
But I'm going to take a win while I got it. And so I'm about to leave on a happy note, but I will not be happy. I'll actually be sick.
I knew it.
Big
I knew you were
and
doing
sick.
it. I knew you were going to do it.
If the audience doesn't like this podcast, subscribe to the podcast if you haven't, and leave us a 5-star review if you can, because if you do, we're going to read it live on air someday. You guys can also email us at carrayrob@gmail.com or reach out to us on Blue Sky at carrayrob if you want to.
Absolutely. A cure for the sickness would also be to share the podcast with all your friends and family, enemies, lovers, homeless people on the street, whoever. We are trying to grow this listening audience, and any help we could get is greatly appreciated. If there is a comment section on whatever platform you're listening on, by all means let us know what you thought of The Big Sick. Do you love Kumail Nanjiani? Did you think Zoe Kazan was a little insufferable in this movie? By all means, we want to know. We will be back next week with this month's Hello Movies, My Old Friend, where Ray and I will be revisiting the action classic Toy Soldiers.
Yes, we will.
Starring Sean Astin. I'm excited about that one.
I
remember loving that movie, but I can't even remember the last time I saw it.
I was very little.
Exactly. But September is a 5th Monday month.
Oh, shoot.
And you know what that means.
That means Kitty Kaiju.
That means Mr. Kitty Kaiju will be in studio for a special kids edition of Say Hello to My Little Film. And this one is going to be epic. It's going to be groundbreaking because he is now a middle schooler. And now Uncle Ray and I think it is time to introduce him to the classic comedy Dumb and Dumber.
Is he going to like it as much as we do?
I have no idea. You always go in with the best of intentions, and you think, man, I love this movie. He's going to love it. Our kids are going to love it. And it doesn't always.
We're going to oversell, and we're going to ruin the experience for him.
It very well might happen. But it's going to be a fun experience, and you're not going to want to miss it. I'll be back that first Monday after, though, and it will be back to me for Say Hello to My Little Film, and we will be back on our regular schedule. I will get that out. I know I can talk. But you are not going to want to miss any one of our future episodes. But until then, this is Car Ray Rob.
Where I'm Ray.
And I'm Rob. And remember, be defined by the films you love, not the ones you hate.
Hey there, it'll be just a little while till Ray and Rob spit their spittle. Come on, check out of the hospital. So grab some of your best peanut brittle. This will be a darn good transmittal. And say hello to my little film.
Hey everyone, Rob here. Want to give you a little sneak peek of what I've got for Ray for our first October episode of Say Hello to My Little Film. It is the spooky season, so I am bringing something that I believe he will enjoy, even though Ray is not the biggest fan of horror, and it is the 2019 horror film The Deeper You Dig. It is by an independent family of filmmakers called the Addams Family, which have grown to prominence over the last few years for their amazing resourcefulness, I'll put it, as far as independent filmmaking goes, and they are actually personal inspirations to myself. So you are not going to want to miss this movie. I really think Ray is going to enjoy it. We will see you all then.